Hey, welcome back to StableGen.io. This is a platform for taking your rough ideas all the way to final generated videos. All right, so you just signed up, create a new project. A project is basically a wrapper for your script, but in the case where maybe you have a series, this is where you can start to put more series details, like describe the characters and the episode arc here, things like that. So this will be included in every script generation for a script in this project. Now we have a project, we have to add our script. We are going to add the first script for Getting Away with Murder. This is a series tracking a guy named Alan who accidentally kills a person named Chris, and he's just a normal guy, and can he get away with it? So episode 1, we are calling it this. Pretty simple description here. And this is important, your video production method. Now you can change this later, but if you're a regular filmmaker that's shooting this with video cameras and people, traditional is the way to go. You'll be able to generate a script. You'll be able to generate all the different shots, all the dialogue, timelines, everything. And you can export everything as script PDFs. And also you can export shot list PDFs for the entire script. So even if you're a traditional filmmaker or animator, StableGen's script generation tools can be very, very helpful. Now for the AI filmmakers, we support a number of different video generators inside of StableGen. So each one of these determines a little bit how things are packaged up, but I'm going to go with Kling 3. We are all still waiting for Seed Dance 2 to come out, but right now Kling 3 is a big hit. And what Kling 3 allows you to do is a multi-shot approach. So StableGen will generate all these shots, and then using Kling 3's APIs, we'll be able to batch those shots up for you and create individual videos with these professionally planned shots. Now you want to actually add your script idea. This is a sort of outline. This is the core of your project vision. Here's the actual outline. Just kind of, I'm laying out details for some of the things I want to have happen in here. This, you can be as detailed as you want. You could add a scene list, and whatever you put in here, the StableGen pipelines, the agents that do all the generation will honor this completely. So if you put 6 scenes in here, those 6 scenes are going to show up. Medium, you could have an anime, stop motion, different types of animation. I'm going just live action. The genre here is, we'll go with thriller. And this is going to be a web series. Formatting controls, only use this if you have a complete script. So you could actually drop a complete script into StableGen, and it will just format it into a professional looking script format that you can then download as a PDF. But in that way, it's not going to add any characters, dialogue, scenes, nothing. Target duration, pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to keep it between 5 and 6 minutes an episode. Dialogue, so this is something where you only want specifically the dialogue that you've made, but you're not just saying format the script, and then another one is preserve scenes. This is saying maybe you can add dialogue and you can change things in the script, but I only want exactly the scenes I described. The last section is to pick some of these style and technical details. So we support where you can pick different writers, different director styles to get a cool feel for your show. So with this one, I'm decided to go Coen Brothers for both. A lot of the directors are also writers, so 16:9. Think about when you're picking this versus what generator you're using, because ultra wide, things like that aren't necessarily always supported. But I wanted to give you a lot of options because some people are just generating images and they don't actually want to generate the video. I'm going to just go 1K right now. The camera, let's say a Red Raptor 8K to produce a 1K. And then the style, we're just going to go with the normal classic prime lenses here. You can also add sound, style, music direction, sound effects direction, and this will all be transferred over when you're actually generating the videos. Now we have our script in there, and then here is where you can look at all of your setting details, and if you ever want to change them, just go right back. So now we're going to generate the script. Once your script is generated, now you can look at all the details. You see here's a scene list. So it's broken down each individual scene, and you can see there is a timeline for each scene. This timeline is actually completely editable. So you can add events in there if you want. You can delete existing events. You can change what happens in the events. Here's where you have dialogue, change the duration. So you have complete editorial control. You can lock scenes. The purpose of this is if you want to regenerate the script, but you really like the first scene, you can lock it. And then it will go from there and generate the rest of the script. In this way, maybe there's only one scene you want to regenerate. You lock every scene but that, and then click regenerate. When you want to regenerate a scene, you can add notes here for the regeneration. That's everything here. Up here, again, all these details, there are a couple new sections here, characters and stages. This is really important. These are all the characters that were pulled out of your idea, and then if the pipeline needed to add characters, it would, and here's their descriptions. You have a couple options here. You want to link these so that you can create your image assets and use them for creating the first frames and the reference images that are used in video generation. Alan is our main character here, and you have two options. You can create a new, which will just pop open a new form, pre-populated, and you kick it off with a source image of your choice. I've already gone through a whole tutorial on character creation, so I'm not going to go into the details of that path, but that is a fine way to do it. And if you already have Alan, which I do, then you can just select Alan, and now Alan is linked, and his images will be available for you when you're creating your frames and reference images. Same thing with Chris. I will choose Chris, and they gave Sarah a name. In another situation, she was just Alan's girlfriend, I guess, when I created it. Sarah, the script character that was generated by the pipeline, the AI, doesn't necessarily have to match Alan's girlfriend, the character name that you have. You can just do it that way. We also have stages. Stages, locations, these are like the set for each scene. And it's the same thing, right? You can create a new stage, and I do have a detailed tutorial on that. And once you have created it, or if you already have it, you can... It's not Alan's apartment. Well, I don't remember which living room it was. We will go with friend's house, living room. I think that is Chris. Chris is his friend. And we have Alan's apartment, living room. Okay. The next thing is to start generating the shots. So if you think each scene, imagine just a scene in every movie, you're cutting, the camera's actually changing views over and over. If there's a conversation, it's going back and forth between the people's faces. Maybe it steps back and it shows a zoomed out view with both of them. That's the sort of thing that the next pipeline is going to generate for you. And it's going to be generated largely using this timeline and sort of figuring out where it should make its cuts and everything. This is where you'll generate these shots. And you're also going to generate video clips. So the shots are essentially going to be an intermediary kind of object that, unless you're going the traditional filmmaking route, you are going to not really deal with them directly. You're going to just see them batched up into your different video clips. I already chose Kling, but you do have the option of changing this. What you set for your script will cause the default here, but you can change it. If one scene you'd rather see done in VO 3.1 or something, by all means. So we'll generate the shots here. And I'm going to show you one thing real quick. Download PDF. This is for the traditional filmmakers. And so what this does is gives you basically a real script. It's got everything you need. This is the full 8 scenes and everything in here. And I will show you actually, and I didn't fill this out, but you can also put your name here, and then now your name's on there. So probably want to do that. Once the shots are complete, you can then download your shot list. That actually happens even if you only have one scene. So you can spit out the shot list just for scene 1 if that's all you've got. So now that your shots are generated, you can see all the details here. So they, as I was talking about, they are batched up based on the parameters of the Kling 3 OmniReference API. So in this set, it's based on how long the different shots are. And so it turned all these 11 shots into 3 different clips. And so now you have to go and build the image assets for the clip. Right here, you can see your list. So here are the 4 shots, and right now the status is missing. We've got to create 4 frames, and we also have the 4 prompts. These prompts have the proper reference to the image. You can come in here and edit anything about the individual prompt here for shot 1, but we have them all set up here for you. We've taken the individual shot descriptions and then tailored them to Kling specifically. You can't generate the video yet because you have to create the frames. So coming down here, this is where I was talking about. Now, since we have Alan already linked and Alan's apartment already linked, we can just pick one of the existing image assets for each one and start there. You can pick whatever one you want. And now that you've picked these, you can generate the frame. And we'll do this for each one. Once the shot is generated, you can come and view it here. You can use the previous frame that you're going to send the Kling as a reference image. And generally, I think that's a good idea. You should add some description here, as you may want to use it in different ways, or you may want to specifically call out to not use a certain portion of it. In this case, reference image is a frame from an earlier shot in the scene. Use it for lighting, color. It's going to composite together, and then it's going to use this for stylistic consistency. And you can continue on through generating everybody here as we're waiting for the last one. See, it's all pretty consistent. Now we have all of the image references or the frames for the multi-shot generation with Kling. Just kick it off. Another thing too, I can show you this while this is generating. You can generate other versions of this. Maybe you may want to change the prompt or just give it another shot. And now that the generation is complete, the video generation, you can watch it here, and you can, so that is this whole clip. You can see all the frames that were included. You can move on to the next clip. Same thing, edit prompts, start to generate frames, the reference images, and you can put it all together. Couple final notes here is you can do multiple generations of a video, and you can pick the one you want there. And the same thing goes for the frames. I could regenerate again if I wanted to take another shot at this. And I can also then go back to a previous frame. So maybe I preferred the color here. And you can actually also open up the frames in the full editor. So you can do prompt editing, you can do in painting, camera movement. This is more designed for an empty stage, but you can give it a shot if you would like. So that is the entire StableGen system. Quick walkthrough. You start with a script idea and you move all the way through generating the script, generating the shots, the video clips. Another option you have here, and if you note this cost is real low. Let's say you decide not to go with Kling. Is actually what the first generation failed. It timed out. So Kling sort of famously takes a long time to generate the videos. It can take 20 minutes to generate. But you could also decide that you want to go with something different here. And let's say we wanted to do the VO 3.1 multi-shot. Well, it's only going to cost you 4 tokens. And it won't recalculate the shots that are batched together in the clips, but it will batch them together, which is relatively fast, and it will make a new prompt or prompts appropriate for the video generator. In this case, it's pretty fast too. The way the images work, you can see they're already there for the shots. Obviously not the ones we haven't done, but you can see here, you just have now one prompt to work with. So that is StableGen.io video platform. I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to find me, I am StableGen_IO on Twitter. You can always reach out at contact@stablegen.com and come and sign up. Give it a try. You get 100 free tokens. You're not going to be able to generate much in the way of video, but that part's pretty standard. I think the interesting stuff that's really different is the way that we're handling the scripts and the shot generation. And this whole interface is quite different.